Gina. Today I'm going to show you how to make this little pair of earrings that I am calling icicle crosses. And my idea was to make a snowflake with a cross in the center, or something that looks somewhat like a snowflake, icicle-y, with a cross in the center. So this is what I ended up with, and I think it's really rather pretty. It's kind of a simple look, but it's elegant in its own right, and in person they're really very pretty. So let's look and see what we need to start this project. Okay, so what you're going to need for this project today is you're going to need some 5mm bicone crystals. This is a Swarovski Zillion, and it is clear, of course. Now, I know I'm going to be asked, you can try 4 and 6mm bicones, because I know that's more common than a 5. However, the 5 works the best for this design. I have tried it in the other two. You can finagle it in there and make it work, but the 5 is the absolute best. So that's what I'm using, as a 5mm bicone. And then you will need 2 ear wires and 2 wire guardians. These are sterling silver French hooks. These are sterling silver wire guardians. And then you will need 11 seed beads in 2 colors. They don't necessarily have to be 2 colors, but I'm using 2 just because I want the crystal lined on the outside, and I want the silver, the bright silver, on the center so you can see the cross better. And the reason that I'm using the 2 separate is the crystal silver lined here will blend in better with the crystals themselves and not distract from the cross in the center. So that's why I'm doing it that way. So I'm using 11 O's. I'm using galvanized silver, permanent finished Toho's 11 O's, and I am using the translucent silver lined AB finished crystal 11 O's. They're both Toho's. And then I am going to use 8-pound Nanofil thread, this one, and I am going to use a size 10 beading needle. Of course, you can use a size 12 beading needle also. You can use 6 or 8-pound Fireline also. And let's go ahead and get started with this project. Okay, so to start this project, you're going to pick up 4 11 seed beads onto your needle. My 11 that I'm using to start with is the galvanized silver tone one, because this is going to be the cross portion. So we're going to start with that. And back up just a little more. We're going to bring all 4 of these beads to the end of our thread. You don't have to leave a long tail, just enough to hold on to. And then when you get the 4 beads to the end of the thread, you're going to go back up through the first 2 on the tail side. Hold on to the beads, those 2 beads, and the thread, and pull the needle through, like so. Then you will have 2 beads laying on top of 2 beads, just like this. My tail is here, my working thread is here. I'm coming out of this side, I'm going to go back into these 2 beads here. And I'm going to hold on to all 4 of the beads, tuck the tail between my fingers here, and pull my thread through. Then I'm going to go back through the beads on the tail side. I'm just reinforcing these, making them tight, and making them neat. So now I'm coming out of the side where the tail is. I'm going to go back up through the other 2 beads, like so. Now they are reinforced, they're tight, and they're laying together fairly neatly, like so. I'm going to pick up 2 more 11 seed beads. I'm coming out of this side. I'm going to go into the opposite side of these 2 beads. I'm going to pull my new beads down on top of the previous beads. So now I'm coming out of the previous set. I'm going to go up through the set I just added. Pull my thread through. I'm going to reinforce by going back through the previous set again and back up through my new set. So basically you just sew through each set twice so that everything is nice and neat. Make sure your tension is very good. Make sure everything is very nice and neat. This is going to be your cross portion, so if it's all funny looking, so will your cross be. Then pick up another set of 2 11-0 seed beads. You're coming out of this side. We're going to go into the opposite side of the beads, and we are going to pull these beads down. We're going to go into the set we just added again, back up into the set that was previous, and back into the set we just added. We're going to add 2 more sets. So pick up another set. Coming out here, we're going to go back into the previous set, sew through to reinforce and tighten. And I realize, yes, my fingers are over the beads, but I cannot keep my tension without putting my fingers over the beads. So I will move them as much as possible so you can see what I'm doing, but there we have it. Just like that, and then we're going to go up through these 2 again and add 1 more set. Okay. I'm coming out of this side, I'm going into the opposite side from which my thread is exiting, adding 2 more 11-0 seed beads, going through the new set that I just added, pulling my tension tight, going through the previous set, going back through the set I just added. Now we have 6 sets of ladder stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are going to sew down until we're into the 3rd set. So we're coming out of the 6th set here. We're going to sew into the 5th set. I'm sorry. Yes, we're going to sew into, we're going to call this the 6th set, the 5th set. And we're going to go into the 4th set right here. Backwards, or you can just count 1, 2, 3 and go out the 3rd set. It doesn't matter. Just go down into this set right here. Let's get close so you can see. Now we're going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads like so. We're coming out of this set here. We're going to go into the very next set. So we'll be working in the 3rd and 4th set in our long strip here, our set of 6. Pull the beads down. Now you can see that this is going to want to sit like a herringbone stitch, but I don't want it to sit like a herringbone stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew back up through, I'm coming out here, I'm going to sew back up through the first set that I went into, and just that set, not the 11-0s on the other side. And I'm going to pull everything down tight, and then I'm going to come through both of these beads like this, and then I'm going to pull my thread through. Then I'm going to go back through the set underneath, right there. Now this will kind of pull it back into the herringbone shape when I tighten it, but my next step will straighten it back out. So now I'm going to go back up into the first set I started in, right here, and not the beads on the other side, just through the ladder stitch, our previous ladder stitch. Now I'm going to go through our new set of beads right here, both of them at the same time, and straighten them out so that they lay like a ladder stitch and not a herringbone stitch. Like this. Now my 2 beads are laying side by side. The holes are not up this way towards me anymore. They are side by side, nice and neat. I'm going to pick up 2 more like this, 2 more 11-0s. I'm coming out of this side, I'm going to go into this side of my 2 new beads on my piece. Now I'm going to go back through the beads I just added, pull everything tight, then I'm going to go back through the previous 2, like so, back through my 2 new ones. Now kind of straighten everything out as you do this. Don't let it get sloppy, because it will. It'll try to fight you and do all kinds of weird stuff. Then pick up 2 more 11 seed beads. You're coming out of this side, you're going to go into this side here of the beads. And pull the new set down. Go through the 2 that you just added, back through the original 2, or the previous 2, excuse me, and sew through it one more time, just to make sure it's nice and neat. And I'm going to go through this set here. Then I'm going to go through this set here, right here. Move myself back over so that I can go to the other side and finish my cross shape. So now I'm coming out of this little set here. I'm going to go into the set here on our long strip here of our ladder stitch. So we're going to work to the other side. Now make sure your ladder stitch doesn't bunch up, because as you pull your tension, sometimes they want to, the sets want to roll on top of each other. Don't let that happen. Keep straightening it out, making sure that your tension isn't so tight that you're rolling them on top of each other, but that it is tight enough to where it's not showing a lot of thread and it's not messy. Pick up 2 11 seed beads. I'm trying to get my beads in the picture because I've gotten complaints about that too. Oh goodness. Okay, pick up 2 11 seed beads. Go back into the 2 on the long strip. So you're coming out of this set, we're going to go into the next set. Let's get real close so you can see. And we've got 2 11s, we're coming out here, we're going to go into here, and we're going to avoid the beads on the other side. So we're just going to pull through these 2 here, like so. Then we're going to go up through the set right next to them, like so. Try not to go through the, do not go through the beads that you just added. If you have to move them around, that's fine, because you can pull the tension back again anyway as you pull your thread through, like so. Now we're coming out of the main body of our ladder stitch. We're going to go into both of these 2 beads and straighten them out. So they want to lay with the holes up. We don't want their holes up. We want them to be laying next to each other, like this. I need to go back into the center beads in the cross shape here, so I'm going to go back into these 2, and they do start to get a little thread tight. You just have to manipulate your way through them without going through the beads on the other side here. Come here. There we go. It just takes a little bit of manipulation. Then go back through the next set. Avoid the beads on the other side. Here. And pull through. Straighten everything out. Like I said, they want to roll on top of each other because I have extremely tight tension on here. So by doing this, I'm adjusting my tension. Now I'm going to come back through these 2 beads so that I can pull them back into the ladder stitch shape, lay them side by side, and now I will start a ladder stitch. So I'll pick up 2 11/0 seed beads onto my needle, like so. Coming out of this side, I will go into this side here. Then I will reinforce by going back through the new beads that I just put on, and then into the previous set here, and then back into the new set here. Adjust them, make sure they look nice and neat, and then add 1 more set. Pick up 2 11/0 seed beads onto your needle. You're coming out of this side, you're going to go into this side here. And then secure them. Okay, so this is what you have now. Okay, so this is what we have, a little cross. And if you look at it, you will notice that one side has 8 sets of ladder stitch. So if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You should be coming out of the 8th set of ladder stitch here. Now, this side, this way, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 sets of ladder stitch. So what you're going to do is you're coming out of the 8th set here. You are then going to sew down into the set beneath it, right here. And you're going to pull your thread through. So now you're coming out of the 2nd set here. We're going to cut our tail off here. And then we are going to pick up a 5mm bicone crystal, like so. You're coming out of the 2nd set here in your ladder stitch. You're going to go over into the strip of 6 sets, and you're going to go into the top set here. So the very end set is the one that you're going through. You're going to turn. Now this was our first set where our tail is, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to secure it a little bit better. I'm going to go back into, I'm coming out of the top set here, I'm going to go back into the set underneath it, and then back into the top set to secure the little cross, the end of the cross, because the ladder stitch kind of wants to fall apart where your tail was, just like that. So I just sewed around to secure it. And at the same time, I secured my crystal. Make sure everything looks nice and neat. Pick up another crystal. You're coming out of the last set in the row of 6 ladder stitch. You're going to go into the 2nd set into the ladder stitch that has 8 sets. So from the top set here to the 2nd set here. And pull the crystal in. Turn your piece, pick up another crystal. You're coming out of the 2nd set here, you're going to go into the top set here. Now we're going to pick up another crystal, and we're coming out of this set on the outside, we're going to go into the 2nd set here. And pull our crystal down into the corner. Like so. That's what you should have so far. Now go into the top set. So you're coming out of this little 2nd set right here. You're going to go into the top set of ladder stitch right there and exit. Now you're going to pick up 3 bicone crystals. You're coming out of this side of the ladder stitch. you're going to go into the opposite side of the ladder stitch and pull these 3 bicone crystals down like so. Now you're going to sew back through all 3 of these crystals. As you sew through, you're going to pick up an 11/0. So I've come through this crystal here. I'm going to pick up my crystal silver lined 11/0 now. And I'm coming out of this crystal, I'm going to go into this one here. And I'm going to place that little 11/0 down in the corner. Then I'm going to pick up another 11/0. I'm going to go into the next crystal of the 3 I just added. And then now I am coming out of this crystal here. I'm going to pick up an 11/0 seed bead, like so, my crystal lined ones, and I'm going to go directly into the crystal here in the corner. And I'm going to pull the seed bead down, like so. And then I am going to come through, I'm coming through this crystal here. I am now going to come through the 2 11/0 seed beads on the set of 6 ladder stitch here. So I'm going between these 2 crystals and just going into the 2 11/0 seed beads in my ladder stitch. Then I'm going to pick up 3 more crystals, like this. And then I am coming out of this side. I'm going to go into the opposite side of the 11/0 seed beads and pull through, like so. And then I'm going to sew up through my crystals to secure them. So I'm going to go back up through this one here. As I do this, I'm going to put a little crystal seed bead in between. So I'm going to pick up this little crystal seed bead, my 11/0 silver lined, and I'm going to go into the next crystal. So I came out of this one, put my seed bead here. I'm coming through this crystal now. I'm going to pick up another crystal seed bead, and I'm going to go into my next crystal right here and pull that seed bead down. And then I'm going to go back into the ladder stitch. So I'm coming out of this crystal here. I'm going to go into the ladder stitch that I started in, right there. Then I'm going to go up into this catty corner crystal here. And then I am going to sew into the second set. So here I am coming out of this crystal right here. I'm going to sew into this second set. So I've got a set of ladder stitch here and a set of ladder stitch here. I'm going to go into the second set. And then I'm going to pull my thread through, and then I'm going to go into the end set of ladder stitch and pull my thread through. And then I'm going to begin myself another set of 3 crystals. So I'm going to pick up 3 crystals, like so. This. I'm coming out of this side. I'm going to go into this side now, like so. And then I'm going to secure these crystals. I'm going to come up through this first crystal here. I'm going to pick up my crystal lined 11/0, just one, and I'm going to go into the next crystal. And then I'm going to pick up another 11/0 seed bead, and I'm going to go into the next crystal. And then I'm going to pick up an 11/0 seed bead, like so. I'm going to go down into this crystal here. And then I'm going to go into the ladder stitch here and begin another set of 3 crystals, so I will pick up my 3 crystals. I'm coming out of this side of the 11 O's in the ladder stitch. I'm going to go into the opposite side, avoiding the crystals on either side of it. And then I'm going to turn it so that I can get my needle through here. I'm going to go up through the new crystals I just put on here. I'm going to pick up an 11O seed bead in my crystal lined 11Os. And I'm going to go from crystal to crystal, depositing that 11O between them. And then go from crystal to crystal, like so. And then I'm going to go back into my 11O seed beads here. Then I'm going to go into this crystal catty corner here. I'm going to pick up another crystal 11O seed bead. And I'm coming from this crystal. I'm now going to go into this crystal here. And just the crystal, like so, and pull the 11O down. Now, you will see that I've got 2 11Os here and 1 11O here. I've got to get back over to here and add an 11O crystal lined between these two. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and sew through all of these beads. So I'm going to go through this 11O and this crystal. I'm going to go through this 11O here, the crystal lined 11O I just put on. So I'm just going through the beads on the outside here. I can get into that 11O. There we go. Then I'm going to go into this one. So I'm just sewing through the outside crystals. I'm going to go through this set of crystals here. Sew through this 11O. Sew through the crystal. Sew through the 11O and the crystal. Up through this catty corner crystal, and here is where I need to add my 11O. I'm going to get really close so you can see, because yes, I am using crystal beads, and yes, they are hard to see. However, please don't scold me for doing that. That really kind of upsets me when people do that. I am taking you along for a ride as I make my Christmas projects. This is what I want my Christmas project to look like. So this is why I'm using these beads, because this is how I want it to look. So please do not scold me and tell me to use a different color for the tutorial. I'm bringing you along with me as I make my stuff, because I feel like perhaps you'll want to make some too. But I'd like an end product when I'm done too. So that's why I'm doing this. So please do not scold me for using crystal beads. It really does kind of irritate me. And I'm sorry, but it does. So anyway, here is an 11O. We're coming out of this crystal here, this little catty corner one. You can see we have our crystals, our little crystal seed beads, 11Os here. We didn't need them on the side arms, but we do need them on the long ones from here to here. So now I'm going to place another 11O here. As you look back at your piece, you'll see where you need to put them and where you don't. Pull that one through. Make sure it pops into place between these crystals here, right there. And then go up through the 11O here. And I'm just going to sew all the way back around this side, because we sewed all the way around this side to get over. So I'm going to sew all the way back around this side to get up to the top here. And the reason I'm doing that, I don't necessarily have to do it. I could put my ear wire right here, since we're right here. But we sewed through here and secured it. sewing through this side is just going to make this stronger and more stable so it doesn't flop around. This is not a real stiff design, but it should not be real floppy either. It should retain its shape pretty well. So we're going to do that by sewing through the outside beads all the way back around. So I'm coming out of this bead here, this 11-0 here. I'm going to go into my crystal here. I'm going to go into this 11-0 here, and then the crystal beneath it. So basically we're just sewing back through all of the beads, just like we did to get around to put our last 11-0 in. And this kind of, you can pull everything into shape as you do this. The 11-0s we added, and all that in the corners. So you want to pull everything into shape, kind of straighten it as you do it. So we're coming from this crystal, we're going to go into this crystal directly here. You don't have to go through the ladder stitch, just go through these crystals. I'm coming out of the 11-0 now. I'm going to go through this crystal here and the 11-0, and then down through here, back up through my center or my catty corner crystal into this 11-0 here, and this one is the one that was kind of popping out and looking funny, so I'm going to go through it and the crystal above it, and I'm going to pull it into place real nicely. Then I'm going to come up through this top crystal, this 11-0 here, then through this top crystal, and then we will be ready to add the ear wire. So I'm going to get everything looking nice and neat, straightened up and pretty, like so. And then I will begin putting my ear wire on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the crystal beads here. I'm going to pick up 4 crystal lined 11-0s here. And then I'm going to pick up my wire guarding. So let me back up just a little bit. I'm going to drop these 4 crystal beads down like this. And then I'm going to pick up my wire guardian, and I'm going to go through one side of the wire guardian, like so. I am going to hold on to it, bring it down to my beads, and then I'm going to go through the other side of the wire guardian, like so. And I'm going to pull and squeeze the wire guardian as I pull my thread through so that it guides the thread into the divot on the top of the wire guardian. Then I'm going to go through just one of my 11-0 seed beads, like so. I'm going to pull this down and over, and then I am going to pick up 3 more 11-0 seed beads, and I'm going to go back through the opposite side of the crystal I started in, like so. Now I need to squeeze my wire guardian on top of the 11-0 here. If you want to, you can do 3 11-0s and an 8-0 or a different color here so you can see your 4th to put your wire guardian through. Plus, if you use an 8-0, your wire guardian will sit on top of it a little nicer. But in my other one, I used an 11-0, so I want my mate to match it. So I'm just going to kind of squeeze this wire guardian so that it sits on top of that 11-0 pretty nicely. And then I'm going to sew back through this entire thing to secure it. So I'm coming out of this bicone crystal. I'm going to go up through these 3 11-0s here. I'm going to go back up through this 1 seed bead here. Go through one side of my wire guardian, like so. This might open your wire guardian up again as you do this. You can close it again if you need to. Now I'm going to go through the other side of the wire guardian here. I'm going to squeeze as I pull my thread through it so that I can guide my thread in. I'm going to go through the one little 11 seed bead here. Now this is going to mess up your wire guardian as you do that. That's okay, we can straighten it back out. See, as I pull tight, it's gone back into place. Now I'm going to go through the 3 11 on this side. And then I am going to go through the crystal here. Now I'm going to grab a little half hitch knot here between this 11 and this crystal, and I am going to tie a knot. And then I'm going to go through this 11 and this crystal here, and the 11 underneath it, I guess, since it wants to be included. And I'm going to cut my thread off. Now you can sew through as many beads as you want. I cut my thread off. I should have left a little bit to burn it down, but I didn't. It's all right. And this is what my earring looks like. Let me get my mate here. And I'm going to add my ear wire now. I'm going to open my ear wire. Let's see which side is open here. And I'm going to open it from side to side like so. And I'm going to put it onto my wire guardian and close it. Oops. Like this. Straighten it out. And let me make sure that it's straightened nicely. Yeah. So you just have to keep playing with them because they kind of want to bunch up. And once you get them all done, this one doesn't bunch up at all. It's been made for a little while, so it just kind of has to settle in. But just straighten them up, and that's what they should look like. And okay, so there you have it. There's your set of crystal crosses, or did I call them icicle crosses? Yes, icicle cross earrings. That is basically what I was going after, was kind of a snowflake look with the cross in the center. And I think it would make a really nice Christmas earring. Even a little tiny ornament for a tree, or if you have a little miniature tree, or you can even make a pendant out of it if you would like. Hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.